Okay, so it's about a week after my last video, and the last video was me going and talking to my doctor, and parents not wanting any more babies and moving forward with another family. So I've seen my doctor. He has given me his blessing. He says that he has no concerns, and I'm good to go. So medically, I am cleared on his point, and then my next big dilemma was whether I wanted to go agency or independent. Now, as I kind of briefly mentioned, I did not have a super great experience with my agency last time. I am choosing to keep their name to myself at the moment, mainly because I'm just not somebody who likes to say bad things about people. But my word of advice from that angle is, if there are red flags and you have concerns about stuff that you're being told by your agency and you're in the early stages, don't ignore them. I had been through contracts a couple of times when I signed with this agency, and, being realistic, maybe I was super concerned that nobody else would match me. But I went with this agency, and while I did feel mostly supported by my coordinator, I did not feel supported by my agency overall. I felt more of like I was a member of the Handmaid's Tale, and that sat sideways with me. And there was a lot of things that the owner did and the owner said and the way the owner acted that really did not sit okay with me at all, even up to the point of violating my wishes at delivery and my privacy requests. And the agency owner is a he, invited himself into the delivery room, and my husband had to forcibly remove him. So I did not have a super great experience with that agency. I can say from the other side of things, my hospital did not have super nice things to say about the owner. My lawyer did not have super great things to say about my lawyer. Clinics I worked with did not, and thus, because of that, I'm a little gun shy when it comes to agencies. And I said previously that I was working with the original agency, and at the time that was my intent. And then I went, I shouldn't just go with whoever. I need to actually look at some other agencies. So I reached out to my clinic in Vegas, and they got me in touch with Circle, and they got me in touch with Heart to Hands. So I had been in touch with Central Coast. Then Circle emailed me, but something that my clinic had told me, I was like, maybe that's not the right fit for me. She said, it's a bigger agency. You might feel a little bit more like a number just simply because they are a well-known agency and they do have a lot of clients and a lot of surrogates. She said not that they are a bad agency. She has nothing bad to say about them, but knowing myself and knowing me wanting a certain type of experience, that's not exactly what I wanted. So while she provided us an informal email introduction, I decided not to go back to that. But I did get in touch with Heart to Hands, and I spoke to, I don't know, their intake coordinator. I'm so bad with names, you guys. And she was amazing. I've heard really good things about Heart to Hands. I did research on both of them and Central Coast before I decided who I was going to go with. And Heart to Hands, I spent a good hour on the phone with her, discussed my experience with my previous agency, discussed what I was looking for, discussed what kind of couple we would like to match with, discussed all the things. And I wanted to know, what their stance was on surrogate requirements as far as contact and updates and things like this, and what they said that would needed to be happening between the parents and the surrogate. And I really liked them. I really did. I discussed the same things with Central Coast, but Central Coast put together just a better overall picture and package for me, and worked a little bit better for me, and fit my personality maybe a little bit better. So I've decided to go with Central Coast again, and I've already been matched. So I've talked to the new couple, and they are amazing. Very, very nice. It will be their second child for them. They have a 9-year-old. And mom speaks English, which is amazing for me because it helps a little bit with the language barrier. I think that was the hardest thing last time was, my parents didn't speak English at all, and so everything had to be translated. And short of using a medical or professional translator, a lot of things get lost in that translation. There's a reason medical people and legal services and all that use an actual paid translator to translate to any language, because basically they want to make sure that the family isn't leaving parts out. Family members tend to sugarcoat a little bit and not give the whole pictures, but professional translators are paid to do the exact opposite and tell the whole thing. So I've gotten everything into Central Coast, and Danielle, my coordinator at Central Coast, is Jennifer, and so far she's been amazing. I've gotten everything into them, and I've actually already been cleared by the office medically, so we're just waiting for medical clearance and contracts. The parents want to move very quickly, it feels like. My coordinator, Jennifer, told me that they want to transfer in August. Which is like in 2 weeks. So I assume that we will be transferring closer to the end of August. I'm really hoping this takes a little bit more time and we transfer in September, mainly because we just have so much going on next May, and I won't be able to do a lot of the things that we have planned. My daughter graduates high school this year. This is her senior year, and we have a lot of things planned that month with senior year stuff. And I don't want to have to be worrying about a baby coming out in the middle of her graduation ceremony. That is not enticing to me at all. So, it's essentially the same thing as it was in December. Finals and kids and graduations and so I'm going to talk to the clinic and see what the realistic timeline is, because in reality, I was on medications for at least, 6 weeks? At least 6 weeks last time. And with this clinic, because it's the same clinic in Vegas. It's Dr. Shapiro's office, Fertility Center of Las Vegas. And I was at least 6 weeks with them. So, I can't imagine that I don't need 6 weeks again, right? So, I would have to essentially start medications now, because we're past the middle of the month, in order to transfer on the last day of August. So I can't really see it happening in August, but stranger things have happened, you guys. Who knows? My first match was real quick like that, but it was 6 weeks of medication. So I don't know. And his protocol's a little bit different. My 6 weeks of medications before was all estrogen and progesterone. This one, it was I think 2 weeks of Lupron before we even started estrogen. And then it was a month of estrogen before we started the progesterone. And then it was a week of progesterone before the transfer. So I don't know how it's going to play out, but I'm excited. I'm very excited to be working with another family. I'm also very excited to find that I am still excited about it. I had so much nervousness and excitement and just, oh my God, I'm going to actually do this the first time. And I'm happy to find that I'm very anxious waiting for it. I can't wait for it to start. Let's get it done. I want to do this. Let's do this. Let's get these people their baby. And I'm very excited to see that I still feel like that, because I tend to be kind of a one and done kind of gal. I like to have the experience and then I'm good. I just want experience. I ran a triathlon a couple years ago, and I'm I really like to run another triathlon, but I've not actually signed up for one. I've not actually done it. And because I'm I can say I ran a triathlon. So I'm kind of that kind of person, but I'm excited to feel that I still am excited about it. So, that's that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I'm good. I'm happy about it. I'm happy with my agency. I really want to touch a little bit more on the agency. It's really important, you guys, when you match with an agency and you work with an agency that you're happy and comfortable with them. I had a lot of confidence in myself with the agency I used that for the baby I just delivered in December, because I'm a very strong-headed person, and I absolutely will look things up, and I absolutely will ask questions, and I will absolutely keep pushing until I get all my questions answered, and until I feel those questions have been answered appropriately. And my agency owner didn't like that, and I don't just do as I'm told because somebody tells me. I do what I'm told because I'm supposed to be doing that. And, even the doctor's office, I was asking for rationale on things from the clinic, the IVF clinic, because I didn't understand and it didn't make sense to me. And, that can be a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, I always encourage everybody, ask questions, because if you don't ask questions, you're just blindly following along. You have to be your own advocate. And, I was comfortable with my agency at first, and then the red flags started popping up. But at that point, I was already contracted. We were reviewing meds, and I was like, I'm not bailing on this. So I wish I had listened to my gut a little bit more, but I'm not upset that I didn't, because I met a beautiful family from it, and I have a great relationship with them, and I got, some new friends out of it. So, and I helped a family become a family, and they are happy. So I'm glad I did work with them, but at the same time, I will not work with them again, actually. So when it comes to agencies or even just an independent couple, just make sure that you're really, really comfortable with it, and that you don't have any reservations, and that, you feel like you can have an open line of communication with them. That's very, very important, because you don't want to get halfway into it and realize that your contract hasn't been signed by the parents. Didn't get a fully executed contract until I was about 25 to 27-ish weeks, and only got it because my lawyer asked for it so she could file for the PBO. So things like that. There's so much help now, you guys, than there was even 4 or 5 years ago when I started this. So I really started researching this probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and really put a lot of effort into making my husband understand 3 years ago. Well, yeah, 3 years ago. I think it was right after my 31st birthday. And, and then we started it shortly thereafter, maybe about 6 months after I started talking to my husband about it. And at the time it was so hard to find information, and now it's so much more than that. Like, there's so much more information. There's blogs, there's all the fertility clinics. I don't think I found a fertility clinic that didn't at least give some synopsis of how surrogacy worked. There's the Facebook groups, there's parent and surrogate meeting chat groups, there's Surromoms online, there's like classified ads, and there's, so many more people talking about this, that it's so much easier to make sure that you have if you have a question, you can get it answered. And there's so much more information on who to stay away from, and who is a good person to, group or person to work with. And it's such a small, while it's a big community, it's a small niche in the community sense. There's a lot of us, but not really if you look at the grand scheme of things. And we're all very protective. Some of us demonstrate that protectiveness a little bit more loudly than others. So take some of the harshness with a grain of salt. But, there's a lot of people, and there's a lot of information out there now. So, use that research button. That, when you get in these groups, type in your question in the search bar, or keywords in the search bar. There's just so much information, you guys. So make sure that you don't have reservations about things, because if you do, then you end up having your agency owner run in while your private parts are hanging out. So, and that's not what it's supposed to be about. It shouldn't be tainted by a crappy experience with an agency. So, ask questions, keep asking questions, and make sure you're comfortable. So, all right, I will be back again with contract talk and timelines and schedules and whatever else they send me on those emails. So, looking forward to it, guys. Bye.